The sun was shining, and the air was full of laughter and music. A beautiful wedding venue buzzed with happy guests, flowers, and the sound of champagne glasses clinking. Everyone was dressed in their best, smiling, hugging, and taking pictures. But just outside the entrance, one woman stood still, quiet, unnoticed. Her name was Jasmine. She wore a simple dress, holding a small gift in her hands. Her eyes were fixed on the open doors where people kept walking in, none of them looking her way. She took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. Inside, her brother Marcus and her sister Tiana were celebrating their joint wedding. It should have been a day full of family, but Jasmine wasn't allowed in. A memory hit her hard. Her mother's voice on the phone, cold and sharp. "You're not welcome here, Jasmine. Don't embarrass us. Just stay away." She had stood there in silence that day too, holding back tears. She wanted to argue, to ask why, but instead, she said nothing. She hung up the phone and tried to move on. Now, standing outside the wedding she wasn't invited to, she felt the same sting. She watched as distant relatives she hadn't seen in years walked right past her. No one stopped to ask why she wasn't going in. No one even seemed to notice her at all. Jasmine looked down at the gift in her hands. Then, quietly, she turned around, walked back to her car, and placed the gift on the passenger seat. She didn't cry. Not here. As she drove away, her reflection showed in the rearview mirror, calm but heartbroken. In her mind, a quiet voice said, "I used to beg for a seat at their table until I built my own." Jasmine was the oldest of 3 children. She was 29 now, but sometimes it still felt like she was that lonely teenager waiting for someone to notice her. After her father passed away when she was 16, everything changed. Her mother, Angela, used to be warm, not perfect, but she smiled more, hugged tighter, and made Jasmine feel like she belonged. But after her father's death, Angela became colder, especially toward Jasmine. Jasmine never understood why. She did everything she could to help. She gave up her dream of going to college so she could stay home and work, bringing in money to help keep the house running. She took care of Tiana and Marcus, helped with school pickups, made dinner, cleaned the house. She thought doing all that would make her mom proud, but instead, Angela gave all her attention and love to the younger 2. Tiana was sent to a private school overseas. Marcus got a full ride to a fancy art academy. Their birthdays were big, expensive events. Jasmine's were often forgotten or skipped with a quiet, "We can't afford anything right now." At family gatherings, Jasmine started to notice how she was being left out. First, it was small, being left out of photos, forgotten in group texts. Then it became clearer. She wouldn't be told about events until the last minute, or not at all. One Thanksgiving, she showed up to an empty house. They had changed the location and didn't even bother to tell her. Jasmine eventually stopped asking to be included. It hurt too much. She threw herself into work instead. She started a small online business selling handmade beauty products. Slowly, it grew. Then it exploded. She learned about branding, marketing, shipping, and business strategy. Now, she had her own team, her own office, her own income. Jasmine was successful. She didn't have to worry about money anymore. She dressed well, drove a nice car, lived in a quiet apartment where she felt safe. But still, something was missing. No amount of money filled the space where family love should have been. She still caught herself checking the family group chat sometimes, even though she rarely said anything. When her mum texted birthday wishes to Tiana or shared Marcus's new painting, Jasmine would stare at the screen, wishing she could just be seen. Angela almost never called her, and when she did, it was short and distant. Jasmine didn't remember the last time her mother said, "I'm proud of you." Maybe never. One night, Jasmine sat on her balcony, sipping tea, wrapped in a blanket. The city lights blinked around her. She had everything she once dreamed of: freedom, success, peace. And yet she still carried this quiet, heavy ache inside her chest. Still, something inside her was shifting. She had learned to survive. Now she was starting to learn how to thrive. And though she didn't know it yet, something was coming. A moment that would change everything. A moment that would show Jasmine just how powerful she really was. It was a regular Thursday afternoon when Jasmine's phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen and saw a message in the family group chat. A rare thing for her. Her thumb hovered before she opened it. There, in bright colours and fancy fonts, was a digital wedding invitation. It was for Tiana and Marcus, a joint wedding. Elegant photos, dress code, location, date and time. Her heart skipped a beat. No one had sent it to her directly. No text from her mom. No message from Tiana or Marco. Just a quiet drop in the group chat, as if she was just another stranger on a mailing list. Still, she stared at it for a long time. Her first instinct was to feel a spark of hope. Maybe this was their way of reaching out. Maybe finally she was being included. Maybe things were changing. So she clicked RSVP. She filled out her name, chose her meal, and even added a polite note. Looking forward to celebrating with you all. She kept it simple, respectful. Her hands trembled a little, but she hit send. An hour later, her phone rang. It was her mother. Jasmine answered, a small smile still on her face. Hi, Mom. Angela didn't waste time. Why did you RSVP? Jasmine blinked. For the wedding. I got the invite in the group chat. That wasn't meant for you, Angela said coldly. You weren't supposed to respond. Jasmine felt her stomach drop. I thought it was okay. It was in the chat. You know very well what this is, her mother snapped. Don't show up, Jasmine. This isn't your place. You'd only bring shame. The words hit like ice water. Jasmine sat down, stunned. Shame, she whispered. Angela kept going. We're trying to have a beautiful, peaceful day. No drama, no old wounds. You being there would only bring up the past. Just let it go. Jasmine couldn't speak for a moment. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. Her heart was pounding. I'm their sister, she finally said, her voice low. You're always playing the victim, Angela said sharply. It's not about you. Jasmine closed her eyes. Her chest ached. I'm not trying to make it about me. I thought maybe... Her mother interrupted. Don't come, Jasmine. I'm serious. Respect their day. You're not part of this. And then, just like that, the line went quiet. The call ended. Jasmine sat there, phone still in her hand, staring at nothing. Her eyes burned, but she didn't cry. Not yet. She felt like a fool, for hoping, for believing maybe this time would be different. She stood up and walked slowly to the window. Outside, people passed by, laughing, living their lives. Inside, she felt small, empty. That night, she didn't eat dinner. She turned off her phone and curled up on the couch, blanket wrapped tight around her shoulders. It was a different kind of pain now, not the sharp sting of a single moment, but the deep, tired ache of years and years of being pushed away. This was it. Something in her heart quietly broke. There would be no fixing it this time. After the phone call with her mother, Jasmine pulled away from everyone. She stopped checking the family group chat. She didn't reply to texts unless it was something urgent. She didn't talk much to anyone about what happened. Instead, she poured all her energy into work. Her company was growing fast. Orders were coming in from all over the country. She hired more staff, moved her office into a bigger space, and started focusing on expansion. Her best friend, Ava, noticed the change. One night, they were sitting on the couch in Jasmine's apartment, eating takeout and watching a movie. Ava turned to her and said gently, You know, it's okay to stop trying with them. Jasmine didn't answer at first. I mean it, Ava continued. They don't see your worth. They don't care how much you've done or how hard you've tried. And it's killing you a little every time you go back hoping they'll change. Jasmine stared at her noodles. They're still my family, Ava nodded. I know, but family isn't supposed to hurt you like this. At some point, you have to choose peace. Jasmine didn't reply, but the words stayed with her. A few months later, everything changed. A large beauty company reached out. They wanted to buy her brand. After weeks of meetings and lawyers and back and forth calls, the deal was signed. Just like that, Jasmine was a millionaire. She didn't post about it. She didn't make a big announcement, but she knew her life had changed forever. She paid off her debts, helped a few close friends, and quietly invested the rest. She started going to therapy, something she had always put off. At first, she didn't know what to say, but slowly, session by session, she opened up about the pain, the loneliness, the feeling of never being enough. She also worked on building better relationships, ones that were kind and real. She spent more time with Ava and her partner, Ethan. Ethan had always been gentle with her, never pushing, just steady and present. He made her laugh. He listened. He made her feel safe. They had been together for 3 years. But now Jasmine was finally in a place where she could imagine building a life with someone, not out of fear or need, but from real love. One day, while walking along the beach with Ethan, he stopped and pulled a small box from his pocket. I don't care about fancy proposals or big crowds, he said. I just want to grow old with you. Will you marry me? Jasmine smiled through tears. Yes, 1,000 times yes. They didn't plan a big wedding. They just wanted something simple and beautiful with people who truly loved them. Jasmine told Ava first, then a few close friends. Slowly, word spread, and somehow it got back to her family. Jasmine got a message one afternoon from her cousin. "Heard you're getting married. Congrats! Aunt Angela and the twins were surprised. They asked me if you were really going through with it." A week later, her mother texted her directly for the first time in almost a year. "Angela, I heard about your wedding. We should talk." Jasmine stared at the message. Her hands were cold. She didn't reply right away. Later that evening, another message came, this time more direct. "Angela, I want to be there. We're still family. Let's not carry old grudges forever." It was almost funny. After everything, now they wanted in. Not once had they apologized. Not once had they reached out to say, "We were wrong." A few months before that, Angela had messaged her too, but not to check on her, not to say sorry. She had asked for money, for a loan, she said, because Tiana was struggling with a payment and Marcus's project had fallen through. Jasmine had said no. Now she sat with her phone in her hand again, heart heavy. She wanted to believe that maybe this was the moment things could change. A wedding could bring people together, right? But deep down, she knew the truth. They didn't want her happiness. They just didn't want to be left out of it. And for the first time in her life, Jasmine felt something shift inside her. Jasmine sat at her kitchen table, wedding invitations spread out in front of her, the soft gold edges, the handwritten names, the gentle wording. Everything was perfect. She had carefully chosen who to invite, people who had stood by her, who had loved her without conditions. Her hand paused over one card, blank. She stared at it for a long time. It was meant for her mother. After a deep breath, she set it aside. Later that night, she opened her laptop and began typing a letter. It wasn't angry, it wasn't cruel, but it was honest. "You taught me I wasn't part of this family. I believed you for a long time, but now I see I never lacked value. I just gave it to people who didn't deserve it. I'm not inviting you, Tiana or Marcus, to my wedding. I'm simply returning the lesson you gave me. I'm not family to you, and now you're not family to me." She clicked send. The next few weeks were quiet. Ava helped her pick the flowers. Ethan handled the music. There were smiles, soft laughter, and excitement. Jasmine felt lighter than she had in years, but the peace didn't last. On the day of the wedding, everything was going smoothly. The venue was glowing with soft lights and gentle music. Jasmine stood in her dressing room, her dress flowing around her like silk. Ava touched up her lipstick and smiled. "You ready?" she asked. Jasmine nodded, more than ever. Outside, the guests began to arrive. Then, a problem. The head of security knocked on the door. "Miss Jasmine, your mother and 2 other family members just showed up. They're not on the list." Jasmine's heart skipped. What are they doing? They're arguing with the staff. Should we remove them? She stood, took a steady breath. "Number, I'll speak to them." She walked outside, sunlight brushing against her skin, veil in her hand. In the parking lot, she saw them. Angela, Tiana, and Marcus, dressed for the occasion, standing by their car, frustration on their faces. Tiana stepped forward first. "You're seriously doing this? You didn't invite us? Your own family?" Jasmine didn't raise her voice. "I'm doing exactly what you did to me." Angela crossed her arms. "That was different. We were trying to keep things peaceful." "You called me shameful," Jasmine said, her voice calm but sharp. "You told me not to show up, that I didn't belong." Angela's eyes narrowed. "This is petty. You're better than this." "No," Jasmine said quietly. "I'm finally standing up for myself. That's not petty. That's healing." Marcus, quiet until now, mumbled, "We didn't mean it like that." "But you did," Jasmine replied. "You made me feel like nothing for years. You wanted me gone when I had nothing. You don't get to celebrate me now that I have everything." Angela stepped closer, her tone softer. "We're still your family, Jasmine." Jasmine looked at her, eyes steady. Number family isn't just blood. It's love. It's support. It's who shows up when you're at your lowest. And none of you did. Her voice didn't shake. She wasn't angry, just done. "I have my family now, people who truly love me, and they're waiting for me inside." She turned and began walking back. Behind her, there was silence. No more yelling, no more begging, just footsteps fading away as the 3 of them left. And Jasmine, she walked back into the venue with her head held high. The door closed behind her, sealing the past away. The sun began to set as Jasmine walked down the aisle. The soft glow of golden light made everything look like a dream. Guests smiled as they watched her. not just because she looked beautiful, but because they truly cared about her. Ava stood at the front, holding a bouquet, wiping away a tear. Ethan waited at the altar, his eyes full of love. As Jasmine reached him, he gently took her hand, and they both smiled. No words were needed. The ceremony was short, sweet, and full of heart. There were no grand speeches, no big performances, just real love, spoken simply and honestly. Later, at the reception, candles flickered on every table, laughter filled the air, the food was delicious, and the music was soft and joyful. Jasmine stood up, a glass in her hand. The room quieted. Everyone looked at her, waiting. She smiled and began to speak. I used to think that family was something you had to earn, that love was something I had to chase. I spent so many years trying to be good enough, trying to belong. I was told I was too much, or not enough. I was told to stay quiet, to stay small. She paused, her voice calm. But I've learned something. Real love doesn't ask you to shrink. Real family doesn't turn their back on you when you're struggling. And healing doesn't always come with an apology. Some guests nodded. Others had tears in their eyes. I don't hate anyone. I've let go of that weight. I've forgiven in my own way. Not because they asked, but because I needed peace. But forgiveness doesn't mean I have to let pain back into my life. I've chosen peace over proving myself, and that's the best gift I've ever given myself. She looked at Ethan and smiled. I am so grateful to be here today, surrounded by people who see me, who love me for who I really am. Thank you, all of you, for being part of this new chapter. She raised her glass. To love, to healing, and to finally choosing ourselves. Everyone clapped. Some were crying. Ava dabbed her eyes and whispered, "That's my girl." Ethan leaned in and kissed Jasmine's forehead. "I'm so proud of you," he said softly. Jasmine sat down, feeling light. Not because everything was perfect, but because she no longer carried the heavy burden of needing to be accepted by people who never truly saw her. She was finally free. And in that moment, she felt whole, maybe for the first time in her life. A few weeks after the wedding, Jasmine sat on the couch in her living room. It was a quiet evening. The sun was setting, casting a warm orange light through the windows. Ethan was in the kitchen making tea, and soft music played in the background. She picked up the mail from the coffee table. Most of it was boring, bills and ads. But one small envelope caught her eye. Her name was written in neat handwriting. She opened it slowly. Inside was a handwritten letter from her younger cousin, Maya. It read, "Dear Jasmine, I know we haven't talked much over the years, but I saw your wedding pictures and heard what happened. I just want to say thank you. You showed me something really important, that it's okay to walk away from people who don't love you. I've always felt like I had to keep quiet to keep peace in the family, even when it hurt. But seeing you stand up for yourself, it gave me courage. You didn't just choose peace, you chose yourself. And because of that, you've helped me believe I can too. Love." Maya Jasmine stared at the letter, her eyes filling with tears. She hadn't expected this. She had spent so long thinking her story was only filled with pain and rejection. But now, she saw something else. It had become a light for someone else. She folded the letter carefully and placed it on the table. Then she walked to the window, looking out at the quiet street below. She didn't feel anger. She didn't feel bitterness. She just felt peace. A soft smile touched her lips as Ethan walked over and handed her a cup of tea. "You okay?" he asked gently. Jasmine nodded. "Yeah," she said. "I really am." And for the first time in a long time, she truly meant it. Thank you so much for watching till the end. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories. See you next time. Bye.